chief port and cultural centre. Sydney is Australia's largest city, chief port and cultural centre.
Volume okay, all good. Go to next. Record your voice. We'll see we can hear it back. Hello. Hello. Hi, how are you? Your voice. We'll see we can hear it back. Pretty much. Hello. Hello. Hi, how are you? Stars are born in nebulate massive clouds. Eventually, it may expand into a red giant and end as a white dwarf. E- Eventually, it may expand into a red giant and end as a white. Ocean currently move. Ocean currents move vast amount of water across the globe. Ocean currents move vast amount of across the globe. They regulate. Ocean currents move vast amounts of water across the globe. Ocean currents move vast amount of water across the globe. Ocean currents move vast amount of water across the globe. Bees, pigment may creep. They also support the biodiversity by helping plant and reproduce. Support. They also support biodiversity by helping plant and reproduce. They also support biodiversity by helping plants reproduce. They also support biodiversity by helping plant reproduce. Natural disasters include earthquake, floods. These events can cause significant damage and loss of life. These events can cause significant damage and loss of life. These events can cause a significant damage and loss of life. These events can cause significant damage and loss of lives. The water table is the upper level of underground water in soil or rock. The water table is upper level of underground water. Bell beta. Oh, Satan, no, the water table is the upper level of underground water. The water table is the upper level of underground water. The water table is upper level of underground water. The Olympics began in ancient Greece and were received in no. The Olympics began in ancient Greece and were received in The Olympics began in ancient Greece and were received in The Olympics began in ancient Greece and were received in
This office is highly associated with your academic life on campus.
this life is associated with the academic life and support system.
New shores were formed, and totally different creatures would have been washed up onto the shores.
New shores has performed and totally different shores has been developed.
Today, we're going to move on to the next chapter, volcanoes.
Today's we are going to move on to the next chapter, volcanoes.
Enrollment in classes is supposed to be completed via the university records system.
The Roman classes has been completed. The university classes record has been performed.
You must be willing to accept any of the choices you selected.
You must accept any of the choices you selected has to be accepted that you accept.
But we have confirmed the dates and planned the optional extra visits.
We confirm the plans and date extra visit has been confirmed.
During times of change, they should be thinking not only about the strain on their staff,
During the change, they should not only think about the change and staff, but also think about the change.
An interesting feature of the show is that the performers are so young. The youngest is only 14.
The interesting show of the performance of the interesting show is only 14.
this argument relies on huge advances in computer translation and speech recognition.
These has been rely on huge translation and recognize the human transform and translations.
The future of English is in the hands of countries where non-native speakers live.
Future of English has been lived non-native speaker has been adapted through a adapt.
English is expanding as a lingua franca, but not as a mother tongue.
English is expanding as a mother tongue, not lingua tongue.
And it's hard to take out the pollutants.
It's hard to take out the pollutants. And Opera, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, IE, others. Browse users on Wikipedia. We have pie chart here. The browse users on Wikipedia, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, IE, others, and Android. If you can see, Chrome has maximum users of 20%, but the Firefox got the maximum 23%, whereas IE got 34%, which is highest. And I'm not sure what the name of IE, but Safari and Opera almost same as minus 20%. But if you can see, Android and others is almost 2%, which is very less comparatively. Safari, Chrome, Firefox, and IE. Maximum portion of this IE is If you can see, that's the bar chart. Season score by team per season. Team A, B, C points. This is the bar chart. We can see the season per score by the team per season. Team B performing very well. That's the highest score they got, which is 82, 60, 43, 55. 2008, 9, 2010, 2011. They pointed the highest score. If you can compare, the team A is less performance, and comparatively 2010 team got bit higher score than the team C. But if you can compare in all the seasons, the team B is the maximum score winner. Solar panel to the hot water. Sun rays, heat energy, cold water inlet, water pipe, outlet. Wow. We have solar panel to heat water, sun rays heat energy which is going to transfer to the top of the boxes, cold water going to go in to inlet and water pipe flowing through coming out as a warm water. But that's whole energy done by the sun rays and heat energy, that's we call solar panel to heat water. These has been happened to a hot water unit where we can flow in a house and the cold water goes into an inlet and transfer to the boxes and come out as a warm water coming out as an outlet with the red time. Leach field. Leach field population. We have bar chart and line graph both together and least field population which is growing from 5,000 to around 35,000 from year of 1901 to 2011. If you can see, it sharply increased from 1961 to 2011, has been growing very fast comparatively 1901 to a 1941. Leach field population is very important. By you see these graphs has grows drastically increase and decrease over the period of time, over the period of years. Loss of income after a dance cancer. Percentage of dancers reported this as a career transition challenge. Current dancer expectations, former dancer expectations. United States, America, and Switzerland. We have two groups of current dance expectations, former dancers' experience. So the loss of income after a dance career. Percentage of dancers reported this as a career transition challenge. It's really difficult. 50% of the United States career current dancer expectations is very low, but if you can compare the former dancer experience is bit lower. All as Australia got the higher in a ratio, but not more than 60%. If you see the Switzerland, the dance project United States, project cost breakdown, labor license, taxes, insurance, facilities, pie chart. We have a pie chart here which shows project cost background and the labor got the maximum whereas The yellow we call nowhere it's written yellow. If you can see the label license, taxes, legal, insurance and facilities which got very less, but if you see the yellow portion almost half of them but not nowhere can be found. The insurance and facilities got 25%, whereas the labor got 17%, license got 12%, and taxes got only 10%. Where
Aquaculture, the farming of fish, shrimp, shellfish, and seaweeds, has been the source of human protein for nearly 4,000 years, especially in Asia. In the last decade, however, there has been unprecedented growth in aquaculture production, more than 300% since 1984, which has increased the importance of the modern food supply. It's the world's fastest growing food production activity. And globally, more than 25% of the odd fishing and shellfish production in 1999 was attributable to aquaculture. Yes, this industry's contribution to the human diet is actually greater than the numbers imply, whereas third of the conventional fish catch is used to make fish meal and fish oil. Virtually all farmed fish are used as human food. Today, nearly one-third of fish consumed by human is the product of aquaculture. And that percentage will only increase as aquaculture expands the world's conventional fish catch. For the oceans and lakes continues to decline because of overfishing and environmental damage.
we have interesting lecture called aquaculture production. That's only a human protection and cell bees, human bees, and all the species around the world in the ocean is manufactured. All the aquarium species has been eaten by a human, and the art of fishing is decreasing because of the modern food production supply increasing where the fish meal and oil has been greater, where the one third of the fish consumed by human is very much almost 30% ocean leak and December its aqua damage is responsible by the human and shell bees.
Let's say if I'm asking, which source do you often use to get information? Newspapers, radio, and the survey shows 62% of the people chose the internet. You might be thinking, I am going to say how important the internet is, or how quickly it has changed the world for a few years. But what if I tell you this survey is conducted on the website globalandmail.com? Our answer will be different. Because the people who did this survey on a website must be frequent users of the internet. This sample is a biased sample, so we have to pay attention to how a survey is conducted.
The lecture is about the source of information has been accessed by any human being. If you can see the information of the source is accessed by on internet, the change of world is called mail.com and survey has been conducted to ask the people is there any problem to the bias survey, but no, nobody reported because all of the people who is asked for that those people are using the internet online and those the bias survey we need to report and has to be done excessively thoroughly properly but while the internet and access of source is also change the world and survey is also important where
What is the term for a person who writes poems?
poet poet poet
What do you call the money people pay to the government, usually from their income?
income tax taxes tax threshold ITR income tax threshold.
What is the name of the device that converts sound into electrical signals for recording?
So, transistor, 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 transistor.
What unit is used to measure temperature in most of the world?
Thermometer, 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 thermometer.
What do you call a person who writes novels?
Author, author, novelist, author, novelist, author, writer.
In what subject would you study algebra and geometry?
Mathematics, mathematics, algebra, geometry, all the mathematics.
Today's topic is balancing part-time work with full-time studies. Imagine you're a full-time university student, working 20 hours a week. How do you manage to maintain balance?
For me, it all comes down to time management. I treat my calendar like a lifeline. I schedule everything in detail, from lectures and work shifts to dedicated study blocks, meals, and even short breaks. This structure helps me stay on top of my responsibilities and avoid cramming or last-minute stress. I've found that when I stick to the plan, I can get everything done without feeling too overwhelmed.
I agree that time management is important, but I think flexibility plays a big role too. One thing I did early on was have an honest conversation with my manager. I explained that during exam periods or when major assignments are due, I wouldn't be available for work. Setting clear expectations from the start helped me avoid work-study conflicts. It's also made my job more manageable since I can focus fully on academics when it matters most.
I've learned that setting personal boundaries is just as important. At first, I used to say yes to every work shift and every social plan, thinking I could handle it all, but I burned out really quickly. Now, I take a step back and assess whether I realistically have time for something before committing. It's hard to say no sometimes, but protecting your time and energy is essential for long-term balance.
Has your academic performance been affected by working part-time?
Honestly, yes, at least in the beginning. I struggled a bit as I adjusted to balancing both. My grades dipped slightly for a semester while I figured out a rhythm, but once I got into a routine, my performance bounced back, and I've been able to maintain solid results since.
I do get tired sometimes, especially when both school and work get busy. But I've learned to use weekends for rest and recovery. It really helps me recharge and stay focused during the week. If I skip rest, everything starts to suffer.
For me, sleep and self-care have become non-negotiables. When I start cutting corners on those, my focus, mood, and academic work all take a hit. So I make sure to get enough rest, eat properly, and take short mental breaks, even during busy periods.
Would you recommend part-time work to other students?
Definitely, but only if you're organized and know how to manage your time. It can be a great way to gain experience and earn some money, but it's important to find the right balance and not let either work or academics suffer.
Here we have conversation about the part-time work and university students, how they are going to manage their work and performance. The last time management stress, it's very important. During the exam they have work to do, but the manager can't give you off because of lots of reason, because you said yes during the period of starting, and that makes your conversation very difficult, because the conflict during the just work life balance is very important. If you have the stress, you need to get rest and make sure you will have the rest enough break, sleep, and everything that has to be managed during the exam period. Not just the exam period, but you have to talk to your manager that you are feeling sad, and last time management is very important. Work shift management, that's also critical because you said every shift to yes, and your manager is scheduled for the shift and you are not responsible for any of the work you are doing, because if you fail in an exam your grade is going to go deplete and decrease in marks. That makes you pathetic fail in your performance, and that's ultimately a shift realistic energy and academic performance affected by the work get tired because of you stay focused on every time just work, not rest, sleep, and short mental break is how the manager is managing. The academic suffers and all the university students has to manage their time management without any hard feeling to the manager. But start yes to every shift and conflict just as important is not so important to a part-time worker. By managing work and study at the same time, it's really difficult, but at the same time you will have experience and you will gain the experience that will help you to increase your performance.
Welcome to the Academic Writing Workshop. Let's begin by discussing some of the most common struggles students face with academic writing. What are some challenges you've encountered?
For me, one of the biggest challenges is organizing my essays. I usually have a lot of good points or arguments in mind, but I struggle to arrange them in a logical order. Sometimes the structure feels disjointed, and the flow from one idea to the next isn't smooth. That makes it harder for the reader to follow my argument clearly.
I can definitely relate to that, but I'd say my main issue is staying on topic. I often start strong, directly answering the question, but then I find myself going off on tangents. I include points that are interesting but not entirely relevant to what's being asked. That affects the clarity and focus of my essays.
My biggest difficulty is with referencing. Understanding and applying different citation styles like APA, MLA, or Chicago is really confusing. I am always second-guessing whether I have cited sources correctly, and I worry that getting it wrong will cost me marks, even if the rest of the content is good.
Those are all very common challenges. Academic writing involves many different skills, and it's normal to find certain areas more difficult than others. Have you tried any strategies to address these problems?
Yes, I've recently started creating detailed outlines before I begin writing. I list all the key points I want to cover and try to arrange them in a way that makes sense. This helps me build a clear structure from the beginning and ensures that each paragraph leads smoothly into the next.
I use a similar method. I underline the key words in the essay prompt before I start writing, and then I keep checking my paragraphs to make sure they link back to those keywords. That keeps me focused and helps avoid going off topic.
I've been using a reference manager called Zotero. It allows me to save all my sources in one place and generate citations automatically in the style I need. It's been a game changer for me. It saves time and gives me confidence that my references are correct.
Those are excellent strategies. Academic writing can definitely feel overwhelming, especially when you are just starting out. But with tools like outlines, constant topic checks, and reference managers, it becomes much easier to manage. Writing is a skill that improves with practice and planning.
Definitely.
Here we'll talk about the academic writing. Although academic writing has big problem because see the three expectations we've made. The biggest expectation, we don't know how to write the academic writing, and the essay is the biggest problem because sometimes we don't arrange the everything in a logical order because of the reference, relative content, and all the clarity of the topics. It's very hard for reader to read, and that makes the problem to cut your marks, and that's ultimately penalize and wrong way to expect the cost your mark. The academic writing and practice makes you perfect, but practice planning and all the tricks and strategies has to be discussed here. One, the tricks you will get to know is You have to upload your essay on internet and you get to know all the reference styles has to be correct automatically. Whatever reference you need to select and they will guide it for you. The reference is called APA, citation, Chicago. All the kind of problems has to be done by helping of these strategies. Many different skills and strategy has to require the key point to underline and cover the arrangement accordingly. All the arrangement you need to point out of whatever you are going to write down, you need to write the accordingly and order all the expectations that has to be done. Welcome to the academic performance, and biggest problem has to be arranged and relevant clarity has to be focused. Many different skills and cover underline all to me to save all the citations and help to biggest problem to arrange the academic citation. Welcome to the academic performance. It's suffering because of they are not underlining the writing they want to write for. The essay has to be harder to the reader and the reader has to make them good because you need to ultimately get the marks and marks has to be done by you. You are paired with a new lab partner,
You
but
were paired with a new lab partner, but are finding it difficult to communicate effectively with them. You've tried to collaborate, but there have been misunderstandings. You decide to talk to the course coordinator for advice. What do you say to
to
describe the
discuss it.
challenge and ask for guidance on resolving it?
I was paired with a new lab partner, but are finding it difficulties to communicate effectively with them. I'm not sure how to collaborate, but I am trying to be achieve and misunderstanding with them. And I have decided to talk to my course coordinator to advise what is the next process plan. But I says I am describing my problems, some problems to the guidance, and guidance has to be needed from my partner. But the pair to a lab partner to finding difficulties because of the different genders and different linguistic problems. They are speaking English and Spanish is totally different. You're applying
You're
to
applying to be a volunteer for a university event, but you missed the sign up deadline. You're still very interested and hope there's a chance to help. You contact the event organizer to explain. What do you say to express your enthusiasm and ask if there's any way to still join?
I'm applying to be a volunteer for an university event, but I missed the sign up deadline. I still interested in and hope there is a chance to help. But I have contacted event organization and explain how I am willing to explain all the interest in it. I express my enthusiasm and ask if there any chance to still join it. But they said yes, you can join as a volunteer event and you can't miss the deadline. We open everything, it's open for everyone, not just the very interesting. The hope you are special for the help and contact the organization.
You're applying to be a volunteer for a university event, but you missed the sign up deadline. You're still very interested and hope there's a chance to help. You contact the event organizer to explain. What do you say to express your enthusiasm and ask if there's any way to still join?
I am really interested to be a volunteer for the university event, but I missed the sign up deadline. I am still interested in and hope you give me a one chance to help you out. I have contacted event organization and explained how expression of my enthusiasm and asked if there any way to still can help. Is there any way I can give you apology later to the event that I missed and the later late application fees I can pay to all of you. I am very interested. Hope you can understand me and give me a one chance to give you a exact deadline and the organizations that help.